The word home changes when you're deployed. It stops being a physical place and becomes a mental one. It's a carefully curated collection of memories and future hopes that you replay in your mind to get through the 120-degree days, the sand that gets into everything, and the long, silent nights when the real dangers feel closest. For 12 months in Afghanistan, my home was my wife, Jenna, her smile, the sound of her laugh, the thought of walking back through our front door that was my armor. Before I left, we had a barbecue, a classic see you later party in our tidy suburban backyard. Our neighbor from across the street, Dave, came over with a six-pack of beer. He was a decent guy, a civilian contractor of some sort, always working on his vintage car in the garage. He shook my hand firmly. "You stay safe over there, man," he said, clapping me on the shoulder. "And Jenna, if you need anything, and I mean anything, a leaky faucet, lawnmowers on the fritz, anything, you just come get me. It's the least I can do." It was a kind gesture. The kind of thing good neighbors say. I remember feeling a sense of peace. Jenna would have someone nearby to help with the little things. She wouldn't be completely alone. I was so naive, so trusting. I thought he was offering to be a neighbor. I didn't realize he was applying for my job. The first few months of deployment were standard. The Wi-Fi was spotty. The calls were brief, but they were everything. We'd talk about the mundane things, her day at work, what she made for dinner, how our dog was doing. She'd mention Dave occasionally. "Dave helped me move a heavy box into the attic today. He's so helpful." Or, "Dave invited me over for a barbecue with his family." It was nice to talk to adults. I felt gratitude. Thank God for Dave, I thought. He was helping my lonely wife feel a little less lonely. Around the 6-month mark, the tone of our calls began to shift. The easy intimacy was replaced by a strange, formal distance. She seemed distracted, tired. The calls got shorter. When I asked if everything was okay, she'd blame it on stress or a long day. The loving, detailed emails became short, perfunctory paragraphs. The red flag I should have seen as a full-blown military parade came via a photo she sent. It was a picture of our dog, Buster, sleeping on the couch, but in the corner of the photo, on the floor by the fireplace, was a pair of men's boots. They weren't my boots. They were worn, brown leather work boots, a style I'd never owned. I stared at that photo for an hour, my heart pounding in the suffocating heat of my bunk. I zoomed in, trying to make them mine, trying to will them into a different shape. I called her immediately. "Hey, whose boots are in that picture you sent?" I tried to sound casual, but my voice was tight. She was silent for a moment too long. "Oh, those are Dave's," she said, her voice a little too bright. "He was over helping me fix the garbage disposal and must have taken them off at the door." I didn't even notice. It was a plausible lie. It was just plausible enough for the part of me that desperately needed to believe. I let it go. I had to. If I let the doubt win, I wouldn't be able to do my job. And out here, not doing your job could get people killed. So I packed the image of those boots into a mental box and buried it. My tour ended 2 weeks early. A minor injury to my knee meant I was being sent home ahead of schedule. I decided not to tell Jenna. I wanted to surprise her. I pictured the look on her face when I walked through the door. I imagined holding her, smelling her hair, feeling the solid, real presence of her after a year of just a voice on a phone and a face on a screen. The 18-hour journey home was fueled by that fantasy. I landed at 10 p.m. and took a taxi to our quiet, tree-lined street. As the cab pulled up, I saw that the lights were on in our house. A flicker of annoyance went through me. She was always so good about saving electricity. Then I saw Dave's oversized pickup truck. It wasn't parked in his driveway across the street. It was in ours. The cold dread that washed over me was worse than any fear I'd felt in combat. I paid the driver, my hands numb. I walked up the driveway, the familiar crunch of gravel under my boots sounding alien and wrong. I still had my key. I let myself in, my movements silent and practiced, The house was quiet, but there was a scent in the air, a mix of Jenna's perfume and a cheap, musky cologne. On the kitchen counter were 2 wine glasses and an empty bottle. On the floor by the couch were those same brown leatherwork boots. I walked up the stairs, my combat training taking over, my emotions shut down, my body moving on pure, cold autopilot. Our bedroom door was closed. I could hear the low murmur of the television. I put my hand on the doorknob and turned. The scene in front of me will be burned into my mind forever. She wasn't sleeping. They were sitting up in my bed, our bed, sharing a bowl of popcorn, watching a movie. She was wearing one of my old army t-shirts. He had his arm around her. They were laughing. They looked comfortable, domestic, happy. They both looked towards the door as I opened it. The laughter died. The popcorn bowl tipped over, scattering kernels across the sheets. Jenna's face went from a mask of contentment to one of pure, abject horror. Dave just looked terrified, like a cornered animal. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. My voice, when it came out, was terrifyingly calm. "Dave," I said, "you have 10 seconds to get out of my house before I forget I'm a soldier and remember I'm a husband." He scrambled out of the bed, grabbing his jeans, not even bothering with the boots. He couldn't look at me as he scurried past. I heard him tumble down the stairs and slam the front door behind him. Then I was alone with my wife. The woman whose picture I had carried in my helmet. The woman who was my home. Double quotes she started, sobbing. "I was so lonely. Don't," I said, holding up a hand. The one word stopped her cold. "Don't you dare use loneliness as an excuse for tearing this all down. I know what lonely is. I've been living it for a year, counting the seconds until I could be back here. The difference is, my lonely didn't involve betraying every vow we ever made." I slept on the couch that night. The next day, I packed my gear and left. The irony is sickening. I survived a year at war, only to come home and be destroyed in my own bedroom. My armor, the thought of her, turned out to be the weapon that gutted me. I'm home now, but I've never felt more deployed.